Being here with John Mustain, the coach of the James Monroe Mavericks. Mavericks into the second round. John, what's been this team? Is there one thing that surprised you about these guys? I'm sure you were a fan of the school. You knew some of the guys.
Yeah, I mean, I've kept up with them. I hadn't been to too many games over the last 3 years. I think that kind of the big thing that's carried us this year has been our defense. You know, we've done a lot of good things defensively. You know, of course, what we did the other night was pretty phenomenal. But
yeah, shout out to Trinity.
Yeah. I mean, our defense has really stepped up this year, and I think that's probably the big thing that's kind of put us over the hump, so to speak. You know, I'm like any coach. I've got plenty of things that I see that we need to get better at, and even at this time of the year, we got to get better at them. But especially going up against an opponent like Dodgers. But I got to give a lot of credit to our defense. They've really done well.
You mentioned the fact that you play a schedule that has 7 playoff teams on it. Are you a guy that believes in that if we play this competition, it'll get us ready? If you look at the Double A, where you guys were prominent playoff teams every year, the top 3 of the top 4 teams lost.
Well,
I mean, are you a proponent of playing good teams to get ready for?
I am, but you've got to be careful with it because football's unique to their postseason is unique because basketball, baseball, softball, you know you're going to the postseason. Everybody goes.
Right.
And, you know, you could the potential's there to go 0-20 and win a state championship. Now, has it ever happened? No, it probably never will, but that potential is there. With football, you've got to play a tough enough schedule to get those points, but you know, as a single A school, you don't want to play all double A schools, unless you're maybe a Wheeling Central or something. That's with the athletes that they have year in and year out. But when we were double A, we were playing
Greenbrier East.
Greenbrier East and Princeton every year. Seemed like, I can't remember if there was a third AAA. I guess there was just 2. Had Bluefield on the schedule every year.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years we had Point on there. So, you know, you do. You want to play a tough schedule. If you're going out there every night and beating your opponent 50-0, you're not really getting better, in my opinion. I think you need to play as tough a schedule as you can. But again, like I say with football, you've got to be careful with it because you can get one that's too tough. And you may be competitive with those schools, but if you're not beating them and getting those points, you're not going to get the ultimate goal.
Did you look at the schedule and know it was going to be heavy with?
Yeah, I mean, of course, that schedule was made before I got here, but yeah, I knew it was going to be a tough schedule. You know, we had a period there where I think, I can't remember who it was starting with, maybe Greenbrier West, where I told the boys, I said, we're getting ready to go through a gauntlet here. We had West Trail, Nicholas, or Liberty and Nicholas, and it was a gauntlet. And several of those games, Pendleton, West, we didn't get to face the real Meadow Bridge team. Trail, every one of those games, something could have happened that would have made the outcome different. I mean, that's how good that's how good the opponents were, and you know how good we were, obviously. That you know, we could very easily have gone 0-4 over those games. So
you lost to Sherman in the opener, but you didn't have Cooper Ridgeway.
Right.
Did that make a difference?
I think it made a difference, but I think also, honestly, and I told the boys after the game, I didn't have them ready. I thought I did. They looked like they were ready, but ultimately they weren't. We had a lot of problems with assignments that night on offense. Knowing where to line up and so forth. So, you know, ultimately that comes back on me. I didn't have them ready for that game. And I say that not taking anything away from Sherman, because Sherman was a quality team. And, you know, they played Mount View right down to the wire this past week. So, you know, I'm not taking a thing away from Sherman. But not having Cooper and not being properly prepared did hurt us.
Because that was your only single-A loss, I believe, you said.
Yeah.
And like you said, you went through a gauntlet of single-A playoff teams.
Yeah.
Meadow Bridge, Midland Crown, Dustin or Atkins, I think, was out maybe the game when you played them, or they didn't have all their personnel or something.
For trail?
No, Meadow Bridge.
Oh, they had several, and I didn't realize till after the game how many they had missing. They had several, so that wasn't the
But
Meadow
still,
Bridge
I mean,
team.
there's the playoff teams
Yeah,
left
exactly.
and right. I mean, did it feel kind of like you were going through the playoffs?
Oh yeah,
Playoff
the
team started?
night we were at West in the locker room before the game, I told the boys, I said, "This is playoff atmosphere right here. This is a playoff game." And I think, you know, we won this first playoff game. We'll see what ends up happening with this next one, but I think that did help to prepare them for where they are now, because they've been in that situation basically over the last 5 or 6 games. I mean, we went to Covington and had a tough time with them and finally pulled away. And you know, Summers County was a better team than what their record showed, and they had a really good running back. And I don't know that I've ever seen as many good running backs as I've seen this year.
Everybody had it.
I mean, everybody had one. Some of them had 2. Some of them had running quarterbacks. It's as good a crop of running backs that I've ever seen. So, I think we've kind of been in the playoffs for several weeks now.
I'd be remiss if I came here and I didn't ask you about Ben Thornton, a friend of mine, and I know you and your program, and the whole community here in Monroe County, basically. Tragic loss of him. I mean, just talk about what he meant to the kids.
I mean, it was devastating. You know, not all of these kids had ever played for him as a coach. He hadn't coached here. He didn't coach here last year, but he did so these seniors had him for a couple of years. You know, he coached with us for a while and was coaching the middle school program at Peterstown this year. But you know, Ben's one of those losses that didn't just affect Monroe County. I mean, there are a lot of people from different places because he'd made so many contacts over the years. He had his office in Fayetteville. He had his music, played football at Concord, and he's one. You know, his name is synonymous with James Monroe. Most people, when they talk about James Monroe, he's one of the first people they talk about, especially those who saw him play. But it was definitely a huge loss. But I kind of like to think that he's watching over these boys, and that a lot of what they're doing is from their experiences and dealing with him and working with him.
All right, Coach, I appreciate the time, and
thank you.
good luck against Doddridge County this weekend.